Welcome everybody. Y'all ready for this? The Hustle. My name is Steve Armopoulos, and these are my co-hosts.
I'm Talia.
And I'm Tech Luciano. You may have heard me on radio, you may have never heard of me at all, but that's okay.
Cause y'all gon' learn today.
Your whole life was a struggle, had to make it out the jungle. This is a show for you. Welcome to the hustle. Under pressure, never break a fold. Keep chasing your goals until you blow. Now, welcome to the hustle.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Hustle Podcast. And we got a special guest today from the Humblux collective, Mega S.P.R.M.
Yes.
Welcome to the show, my brother.
No, thank you guys for having me, for sure.
That's a hell of a name too, bro.
Yeah.
It's a hell of a name. That shit rolls off the tongue real nice.
But I stay humble.
There you go.
Say it really
Yeah.
fast.
I think we got to find out, why do you have that name? How did the name come to be?
Okay. Well, it's an evolution. Like, it came from, I used to go by the name of Mini Dun back in the day when I was like 12. I got it from a big brother, you know, which goes by Mohammed.
Okay.
And y'all know him as Street Cypher Star. And so at that time, I was 12. It was perfect. It fit perfect. I grew 18, 19, got to that age. I started thinking about it. And he shot that name out, Mega. And then I was like, yeah, you know, I'll pick it up, you know. Came naturally. And then the first part is from my name. I'm Emmanuel. So, you know, I took that little part, El Mega. And actually the Supreme comes from, already it sounded big, but the concept of Supreme is because there's a clan Supreme within Humblux, you know what I'm saying, which includes Apex Supreme, Alpha Supreme, you know, shout out to Cosmo Supreme. They're younger cats. Y'all gonna get familiar with the name soon enough. But yeah, and with Clan Supreme joining that, added on Supreme. So El Mega S.P.R.M just is an evolution of what I went through.
I like that. It's like, reminds me like ASAP Mob and how everybody has the same name.
Right.
The same, something to like distinguish the brand, you know what I mean?
The same
it's
last
very cool.
name.
Very cool.
Yeah, like a little family.
It's actually cute.
Which neighborhood are you repping?
Yo, I grew up in NDG on Elmhurst.
Nice.
So that's where I grew up. You know, the project kind of geographically, context-wise is there, you know? And yeah.
And I know you had like a pretty interesting journey, bro. You were born in Saudi Arabia. Yeah. You moved to New York. Then you moved to DG. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about that.
Damn.
Yo, it went by fast for me because I was 3.
Okay, all right.
So, you know what I mean? I'm the youngest of 3. So like I went through it quick. Like I ended up here growing up and then realizing like, yo, we went, from Saudi Arabia, from Jeddah, straight to, and then traveled here, you know, very quickly. Obviously, it was like NDG was, at that time, the community, like my mom just gravitated there because of my uncle already being there. So growing up there, I met everybody I know from there. So it was a quick transition. I don't remember the whole transition. So I can't say I know, you know, Saudi Arabia. I see pictures and I'm like, yo, I was there.
That's wild, dude.
You know
So you
what I mean?
haven't been back yet?
No.
Okay, dude.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have plans of going back eventually?
Yeah, one day for sure. Yeah, see what the hip hop scene's out there looking like, you know?
That would be interesting.
That would be
Actually,
interesting.
right now, you said the hip hop scene in Saudi Arabia. I'm like, is there a hip hop scene?
I bet you there is.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Definitely.
stars going in and out of there. You know what I mean?
100%. Yeah.
You know,
that's-
everybody goes there for different reasons. You know what I mean? I'm just thinking on the context of my, you know, life. Yeah, for sure.
They probably have some crazy producers out there. Crazy.
With some Arab money, eh?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They can afford the equipment. I'm sure there's some bangers being produced on that side of the world.
Yeah,
bro.
for sure.
Come on, it's oil money over there, you know.
Yeah,
So
facts.
tell us a little bit about the music. What kind of music is it?
Yeah, so like it's hip hop for sure. Like when I started like rapping, it was freestyling, just ciphers, just at 13 years old. It wasn't anything serious. And then I got introduced to like spoken word through going to this event. Actually, my older brother invited me to it. You know what I mean? And it was a spot. It was a spoken word spot. It's called OCL. At that time, I was like 14, 15 maybe. Actually 14, just turned 14. And it was summertime. Just going there, it was like, usually you're used to like shows, rapping, like what we know. You know what I mean? You go there, you get tipsy, you get vibed out, and you just get in your zone. There was like, there's no beats, people. It was more intimate. Walking in there felt like it was a safe zone. You know what I mean? So spoken word came in at that point, was like, okay, maybe I'll do this poetry scene. I came from listening to NWA growing up. At like 14 on LimeWire, downloading everything I could get a hold of.
Fucking up your computer big time.
Basically. Yeah. And so like I grew up listening to like West Coast hip hop at that time when we got a hold of like, internet, AOL days, you know what I mean? And
AOL days.
Yeah. And so at that time I ended up getting introduced to West Coast rap, Ice Cube. So I think that still lingers in my influences, you know what I mean? And then the spoken word came in when I got introduced to that. I started doing like events there, performing there. And then at a point, it grew into, we listened to the East Coast hip hop at that time too, the Locks, Styles P, all these guys over there. And so I think that kind of, the fusion of storytelling was what I gravitated to the most. Because I felt like everybody's talking, but it's just like a conversation. You kind of have to have meaning behind it. If not, it's like we're just talking without any context or like,
Facts.
You know what I mean? No value. And it also bores or wastes the time of the listener. So I felt like storytelling was my thing and kind of evolved into spoken word, hip hop, more on the underground scene. You know what I mean? And now with Humblux, I'm learning a lot more about where hip hop started and stuff like that. So I gravitate towards rap, but the authentic hip hop.
It's safe to say that you're more on the conscious tip.
Yeah.
Like I think I read in your bio that you don't curse at all in your music, or you toe a fine line when it comes to it.
Yeah, exactly. I try not to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I consider it because it's a challenge for me. Like I kind of want to challenge myself. You know what I mean? Like, bro, back in the day, half of the verse was full of cursing just because it filled the vibe.
100%.
It was like, you know what I mean?
Listen, like just the word
crutch.
motherfucker is like what? Like 4 syllables. That's an easy bar. Like you could fill up anything with motherfucker. That's 4 syllables right there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
It would just fill the pockets.
Yeah. And like, everybody curses, but like, is that what we want to project for the youth? You know what I mean? Because the record is recorded. It's not like a freestyle where it slips up and it's just, you're in the zone. Yeah. But I don't think that that's actually good for like, I'm not personally like for it. Like, you should just curse when you want to. I'm like, it's a challenge for me. And it's a challenge for others to be like, I could fill up this whole track with no cursing and some positive engaging, get the message across in a different way, basically.
100%.
Because everyone that's cursing, you're just trying to share some aggression.
Well,
or
not
whatever.
only that, it's also it's a cop out. Like it's lazy. It could be lazy as if you're just using it to fill syllables, then you're just you can easily find another word for that word.
Cop out, N-word, rhyme it with N-word. That's the easiest cop out. For sure. See it a million times.
Yeah.
You're above that. You don't need to do that. You can actually structure your lyrics.
But it's also cool too, because if you were to ever make a track where you did swear, it would like just mean that much more. You know what I mean?
You got it. Exactly. Because I think there should be social, political context. So even when you say the N-word, like whatever it is on record, you're actually, you just to admit that you're also playing an example. Like you're not you don't want to walk around saying, you're influencing the whole world. But that one person that listens to you is going to pretty much also gravitate 100%. To you and hopefully be like, I want to be like you. You know what I mean? And is that what you want to project,
100%. Like you said, you might not influence the whole world to, you put out a song that's bad for the kids, whatever. Even if one kid gets influenced by it, you're sort of doing a disservice to the youth, right?
Yeah.
So I feel you on that.
Yeah. And like you said, like put context to it. If you say it, you're like, exactly. Why did he say? Because that's the thing. Like hip hop could be also studied. You know what I mean? Like if you just strip the lyrics, I feel like that could possibly be, if somebody asks like, what do you want your music to be heard for or whatever? I mean, that's kind of the ideal, like you're a rapper, you're a lyricist, you could strip the lyrics and study that. And then that could go further. You know what I mean? If somebody wants to take it that far.
No, I agree. Like we kind of touched on it on the last episode that we just shot, which is like, I was just saying that like hip hop itself is really just a microcosm of society. So it's kind of a mirror of what's going on. So like if we were to take today's music and put it in a time capsule and like it was discovered, some say a cataclysmic event were to take place, right? And the only thing that they were able to dig up was music from today, it would totally be a reflection of what's going on in society right now. And to be honest, like depending on what you opened up, I don't know if we'd get a very good picture of where we are as a society right now.
Right,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's kind of cool that you're taking that route, because absolutely it's listen, I have 2 sons and it's very easy for them to hop on YouTube or TikTok or Spotify or whatever and just be exposed to the most disgusting, like vile content, you know what I mean? So to see somebody like our age who's actually like making a point of taking a more positive route. I commend you for that.
He's very
Appreciate it,
conscious and aware of what he's putting out.
Appreciate it.
Yeah.
We need more of that. We don't have enough of that in the city.
We don't have enough of that,
all
period.
over.
It's not even just Montreal.
Yeah.
I heard your, I don't know if it was the latest track, but the track yesterday.
Yeah.
That track, bro, it's like full of energy. It catches you right away. The production is insane. It sounds like, I swear to God, I thought I was listening to Nipsey Hussle. I thought I was listening to Nipsey.
I take that as a compliment, man. Yeah, I appreciate that. If you're asking like if that's an influence,
Yes.
of course. You know what I mean? Like already me growing up at 13, listening to Ice Cube and NWA, like, yo, I thought that was my hip hop world at that time. So fast forward now when he dropped his projects, Mailbox Music, all of that. Basically, it was naturally like it connected with me, you know what I'm saying? Plus we kind of come also, you know, we have this Eritrean background too, you know what I mean?
Eritrean too.
And so it connected with me. I felt like, and then, you know, my older brother's name's Samuel. His name's Black
That's
Sam.
crazy.
It was crazy. I was like, okay, I see it. I just felt connected to him, you know what I mean? So, you know, rest in peace, you know.
I'm pretty sure, have people given you that comparison before?
Yeah, in the lyrics, you know what I mean? On other songs. And then that came, you know, yesterday came out, it was like, I hear it again, you know what I mean? And I take it as a compliment. Yeah.
All right. No, it's like I said, that song is really fire. What's the project that you just released that's attached to that?
Yeah. So yesterday is actually the EP.
Okay.
The song you were referring to is Yesterday from the EP, right?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So like yesterday is actually a cultural campaign. Like it's with Humblux, like we run through these campaigns that it deals with all the aspects of culture. So like music, fashion, literature, sports, down to food and film, right? So what yesterday is the music aspect of it was this EP, which basically it's like a capsule of a lot of stories I went through in my life, fictional and then also for real, like, you know, some from both angles. Either I went through it or I seen someone else go through it. And so some songs were a little bit more on the it just reminded you of a summer day. If y'all listen to Fam, that's kind of the highlight when I was sitting down writing down ideas. Yesterday was a little bit more of the more intense part of my life, you know? So yeah, so the project is a 6-song EP. Y'all could check it out. Y'all could listen to it on, you know, streaming platforms or whatever. For the moment, you know, at any point, it may just be on the website and not be on the platform. So, you know, take a peek.
And tell us a little bit about your journey, like growing up in DG. Was it always, were you always on the right path, so to say, or were you like doing some shit that you shouldn't have been doing as a kid?
I was always on the right path. No, I'm joking. Yeah, man. You know, we're a product of our environment. Like I went through, you know, not to get into any details, but it was like a tough situation growing up. There was a lot of things that I've experienced, seen from, you know, those people, you know, your friends going into the bin, things like that. Yeah. It wasn't really like, I mean, we made it through, you know what I mean? I think everybody's now in a better place. Like we're all further, you know, I'm not on the corner like I used to be. Right. You know what I mean? Bro. And yeah, you grow up. And so for the good, especially seeing like the things in the environment and how we're vulnerable to like, you know, we don't know how, you know, we talk about the dope game in the hip hop industry. A lot of that needs to be put into context instead of glamorizing everything, instead of talking about it as if it's all fun and good.
Facts.
If you really kind of went through certain things or seen things in the reality, you may second guess like, yo, is it something you promote or is it something you say, yo, I went through and I got to overcome? You know what I mean? We're trying to get out of things, not try to like go back into things. I think it becomes a fun trend. But what I went through with yesterday was just to go back into my past and just highlight it for the good and the bad, you know, because it was good times, you know what I mean? But there was also some, you know, other stuff.
Get your shit went down.
Yeah.
When did you start making music?
I started rapping at like 13. Like this is backyard freestyles, you know, alleyway rapping for the sake of it, with the crew of people around. And then I started getting into music a little bit more seriously with Sovereign Music Movement, where I started like recording, producing, and seeing what the whole process is like, you know what I mean? So I had dropped like, you know, recorded some stuff. Before that, I started doing more shows than recording. That's what's crazy. And I think I see that prevalent in Montreal too. So like I used to go to this like, you know, community center to just go record stuff, but it wasn't really coming out. It was just for the sake of practicing. And so, you know, fast forward in the last couple years, I've been a little bit more into production than shows per se, you know? Yeah.
But like growing up on, you know, on Elm, like Elm City, you have a pretty good lineage of Montreal hip hop history just from that one block or that one strip. I mean, like Royal Peasants is the obvious ones who come to name, which is I Blast and oh my God, why is his name escaping me right now? The Jewish dude. What's his name, bro? Can't remember his name. Oh my God, I'm gonna be so pissed. He's gonna be pissed that I don't remember his name too. But anyway, long story short, there's like a pretty legendary crew that branched off into like a lot of the roots of kind of the early burgeonings of the English scene in Montreal.
Yeah,
is pretty much like from that area. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, there in Bergs, obviously, in Uptown too gets their shine. But like, yeah, there's a lot of you have a good lineage coming from that block for sure.
Yeah. I mean, people are. Yeah, for sure. You know, Montreal Anglophone hip hop, there's sectors like you just mentioned, like Bergs, you got Côte des Neiges, there's some cats out there. And then a lot of music coming out from NDG obviously was hip hop that was Anglophone. Yeah, and like Blast still doing their thing, you know, everybody's doing their thing, transitioning in life and stuff. And if you're talking about like, you know, artists that are like still doing their thing now in NDG, there's music. I think Montreal has it. What I like about Montreal is that a lot of people make music and just do it because they love it and they enjoy it, and they'll be in jam sessions to recording it and not commercialize it to the full. You know what I mean? It may just be a dope artist in his own realm without like he's a gem in himself.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's like a gift and a curse about our city, though.
Exactly.
To be real.
That's a good point.
Because it's like there's been so many Michael Jordans in Montreal who never made it off the local court just because like they never transitioned to the business aspect of things. You know what I mean? It's like, yeah.
You just touched on that subject. Why do you feel like that's the case? Do you feel like there's a glass ceiling?
I feel it's hard. I feel like there was a glass ceiling, but I mean, we have the internet now, so that kind of alleviates the glass ceiling. It's really just like, I don't know if I could really put my nose on or my finger on, not my nose, I don't know if I could put my finger on like exactly what the problem has been. It's just like, I feel like if like having, like we've ventured out to New York, we've done shows in Toronto, we've been around enough to see that, especially in the States in particular, their business acumen is just so much more advanced than what I would say it is here. I don't know why that is. I feel like there's just, the level of talent in Montreal to me far surpasses like Toronto, and that's like no shade to Toronto, but I just feel like there's so much talent out here, and there always has been. That's the thing. Like I've been on the scene for over 20 years, and I've seen some greats just come and go, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. What do you think it is?
No, like you mentioned when we went to New York, when we spoke with Hands On, and I forgot, somebody was trying to set up a collabo or something.
Yeah.
And he's talking about what quarter are you going to release it in?
Yeah.
And nobody had any idea what that meant. What quarter are you going to release it in? So it's like, it just goes to show you that nobody had business sense.
Do you think he meant like what season? Like what quarter?
Yeah, what quarter?
Yeah.
There's 4 quarters to the year.
So how didn't you know what that meant?
No, it's because I'm saying the people that were there.
For Montreal?
There's no business sense, because at the end of the day, your music, you're not really releasing it quarterly or anything because you're not signed to anybody. You don't have any strategy. You don't have any business plan. You're just dropping it. So when you hear somebody that has all this pretty much down pat, and
exactly,
like, what quarter you're going to release
and then
it
you tell them you're just trying to drop it on YouTube. He's like, well, I'm not collaborating with you, bro. Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, to be honest, I feel like there's not enough infrastructure built up so that people can walk around knowing that exists here.
That seems to be the common thread.
That's exactly like everybody says it. I know it's cliche, but it's true. It's like when you walk around here, you're actually seeing a lot of creation made like that's funded or whatever, but it's not meant for commercialization. Now, there is a good part in that sense because there's a purity side. Like, yo, you make it, you love it, you just do it. You come there, it's a festival. However, the next part, which is why people leave, you know what I mean? A part of why people leave when they're like, yo, I made my music, I made my thing going on here, but I'm like, yo, I think Toronto's looking a little bit more ready for market.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's why there's like an exodus of like talent, exodus of minds that can grow here. I've been listening to some old school tracks here, and I gotta say, Montreal has some legit good artists. You know what I mean? And it's infrastructure, it's business. A lot of people here, sometimes it's like we don't get inclined to like I feel like there's a thing like, oh, if it's business, it's like, no, I don't want it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
But then it's like you get older and you're like, yo, I got to make this music thing pop.
But
What do you do?
That's the thing. Like when you're 17 rapping and you're doing it for the love of it, and then like you get to a point where you got bills to pay. You got a car note. You got
Straight up.
hydro. You got, you know what I mean?
100%.
And it's like, is it really sustainable for me to be spending 10 racks a year on studio time and like not paying my bills? Like, you know what I mean? So if it's like shit or get off the pot at a certain point.
Straight up.
You know?
Yeah, there's no strategy behind it. What are you doing to make money off the music that you're investing in?
Yeah.
So that's what you need to do.
Yeah.
You mentioned that when you got into spoken word, so obviously you were into poetry first, right?
Mhm.
Poetry, then spoken word, then you got into hip hop.
Yeah, like I think I put it all together. I just ended up doing a part of like when I got at OCL, started performing. There was no beats. I was just had my little verse, some little poetry, and honestly, it challenged me to the point where I think it stuck with me till this day. Where I could hear the beat, I enjoy the beats. I'm like, yo, fully. And whether it be a trap beat, whether it be a cloud rap beat, whatever beat it is, I still have an inclination to say something that's meaningful. And I think that's what I learned from that experience. A lot of people for sure till this day have been influenced by that space. I've seen a lot of faces and till this day, ask them at one point in time, if they've been there, it marked them. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I think that kind of goes back to where hip hop started, or like the beginning of hip hop to now where, yo, it's all fun and love, and we could talk about music as like a market thing. But when you get to the music where it's intimate, where people have impact on you and you have impact on them, it's like a exchange. It marks you, you know what I mean? And then it grows to doing shows at, you know, whatever, at a local event, at, you know, Corona or something. That's where it's, or bigger than that. I still stick to, I'll still perform the way I would for one person, just because of that experience then.
I feel as a whole though, I feel like hip hop culture, especially for like younger aspiring artists who want to jump into the shit now, I feel like maybe because it's been commoditized to the level that it is now, that like a lot of people who start off doing music today is like, they're not really in it for the love of music anymore. They're just, I want to be a celebrity. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, if that's why you're coming into this, it's like, I don't know how far you're going to get, bro. You know what I mean? Because if the love is not there, because listen, this shit, it starts off as a passion, but then like once you start to hit those obstacles of like, you've put all this time and this effort and this money and nothing's happening. If you don't have that built-in love for what you're doing, that's it. There goes the dream, bro.
I don't know. The Island Boys look like they're having fun.
I mean, you give me a couple million to do some dumb shit on TikTok, I'd be having fun too, bro.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's a difference between an entertainer and a rapper, but the rapper could be an entertainer. Like, I mean, either or you are who you are. And at the same time, you got to choose what you want. You know what I mean? If you're just exactly like you said, you just want to be famous, it may just last a certain moment. You know what I mean? It's like, it's that rush, and then but you should be okay if it becomes a fad, like it disappears and you're like, hey, I made did my thing. But if personally if you ask me, I'm looking for longevity. You know what I mean? Like even this project, right? I'll put it on record. It'll only make sense in 5 years. In 5 years from now, when you hear the next projects that I kind of have lined up, but you know, not all the way clear, but it's coming in fruition, it'll make sense. It'll be like, okay, I could hear the first project and now I see the evolution of why he is who he is or wherever I'm at. And I prefer that personally. I like long-term things because it's more natural, it's more organic, you know what I mean? Because I know what it is, like you could just run around doing a bunch of things, but if you're trying to get that immediate success from whatever you just made and you don't, then like you're going to kind of like shoot yourself in the foot, making yourself whatever depressed or 100%. Give up or whatever.
Just take the wind out of your sails completely.
You got it. Exactly.
You mentioned the inspiration and the influence came from the West Coast. How about from the city? Was there anybody here from the city that heard you spit and they're like, dude, you got to keep pursuing this, or somebody that gave you that little push?
Yo, the people I seen at the spot when I started going to the poetry scene, you know who brought, it was, y'all know him as Urban Logics.
That's
Don Lennon.
That's the name, bro. Thank you, bro. Thank you. And Logics, I don't know why your name escaped me, but that's exactly who I was talking about, man.
Yo, don't worry, he'll give you a pass.
Yeah, I'm sure he will.
Cool.
I'm sure
he goes by Don Lennon now, just to respect the brand. But at that time, it was like the people that were behind it encouraged me so much to go there and get on stage. He was He's an MC, hands down, like top lyricist.
Yeah.
And
he's a purist too.
And a purist, right? And so, yeah, evolving sovereign music movement kind of helped me see and motivate me to see how meaningful or how much I could make use of what I had. You know what I mean? Because there's so much to say, yo, keep it up or whatever, but it's like, who's there to kind of guide you to like, okay, how do you use this thing to get to the next step? And how do you produce what you have in your head versus like, you know, just do it, keep it up, peace, you know? Those things you don't really remember, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So Sovereign Music Movement, which is a publishing entity in Montreal, and that gave me the inspiration to be like, yo, this could be, learn the business side of things. That's where I really learned like, okay, yo, there's a business industry, there's a music business, and then there's the making the music in your bedroom, you know what I mean? Or your basement or whatever. And how those two bridge, you know what I mean? Not to be one way all the way and just making a bunch of ads for people.
Right.
And how do you make real authentic music become a business? And that to me was motivating. It was like, all right, cool. I know I have an idea where I want to pursue or put my energy to.
So you started, that's when you became an assistant at Sovereign Music, no?
Yeah, like an apprentice. Yeah, exactly. You know, dealing with sales, marketing, and Humblux. It spiraled into Humblux, gave birth to it. And so that's what I do. I handle marketing, design, a little bit more behind the scenes, while my artistic pseudonym, you guys know as Mega S.P.R.M, is my artistry. That's where I drop my stuff. Yeah.
That's fire, bro.
Talk a little bit about the team too. Like who's part of Humblux?
Yeah. So on the business structure side, if you guys off record want to know the details of the names and who to contact and stuff, I can for sure give you guys that. If you guys want to do business, hit us up. All the details are ready for you. But on the artistry side, you got CGK, you got Cali Greens, Cali Angel Eyes, Don Lennon. You know what I mean? Or y'all know him as Urban Logics.
Yeah.
Formerly known, right? As Urban Logics. You got P&O, my big brother. Odd Man Black as MC. So there's Clan Supreme. That's actually a segment in Humblux that you got Apex Supreme, Cosmos Supreme, Alpha Supreme. Those are names you're going to get familiar with. You know what I'm saying? For now, we'll just keep it at that. And there's me, for sure.
Yeah, so it's a nice team right there.
Yeah,
a lot of people down with the crew.
Yeah, exactly. And that's on the artistry side because there's a core, but then there's also associates coming, because the founders are from California. So there's associates out in Texas, California, and different parts of the States.
That's fire, bro. It's clicked up.
As far as the style of music and the artists that are on the collective, so to say, is everybody on the same tip of it has to be conscious driven, or like is there anybody that's like spitting that gangster stuff on the label? I don't know. You know,
the thing is, well, yeah, exactly. I don't want to pigeonhole ourselves into this conscious brand. The reason why I say that is because there is this stigma, you know what I mean? Or the stereotype, you know what I mean? Right?
100%. Backpack rapper.
Exactly. And to be honest, to give respect to that, that's a real authentic part of the history of hip hop. I'm learning that more and more, you know what I mean? I know we heard Kanye West go from backpack rapper to whatever the star he is, but in reality, that still goes on to till this day, right? And back to what you said, like being purist. On our side, we handle, just to give you a brief overview, might explain what, that question. Humblux is actually, the purpose behind it is to find solutions to wicked problems within culture, within the industry. It's not a religious term, it's actually a sociology term. It's about complex issues like, systemic racism to why artists are getting exploited left and right. It's complex. It's not like black and white. You can't just like put a bandage on it. You know what I mean? Right. So the business, the purpose of the art collective or the creative team is that. So obviously all the products and the projects that we create, the campaigns that we create have some meaning, some depth to it. You know what I mean? So if you hear that real like street experience, you're going to get it from a different view. You know what I mean? Right. Yesterday was kind of that, you know what I mean? I may play around with other concepts later on, but when you hear some street stuff, it's definitely coming from from some higher point of view than just glamorizing,
for the sake of just glamorizing it. Right.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay. Yeah. So there's a meaning behind everything. Yeah. And like you mentioned, even with yesterday, I don't feel like it was that rough. You know what I mean? I felt like you just told the line perfectly well on it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
It really hit home with the message because like I've been through those type of things as a kid too, you know what I mean? And I'm pretty sure everybody had similar situations.
Oh yeah.
So it's good to listen to something like that, and it doesn't have to be over obscene and littered with cuss words and stuff like that. You don't need to. So good job on that, bro.
Yeah,
I appreciate it,
Puerto
bro.
Rican Steve was crazy back in the day. That's a fact, bro.
Yo.
Okay, so like you mentioned the influence, the inspiration.
Yeah.
Who's the top 5 right now currently for you?
Yeah,
No
bro.
shade to anybody, because I'm pretty sure the list is long, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
top 5 that you're really messing with right
First off, I don't have a top 5.
Okay, no
Yeah,
top
I actually believe that a top 5, I answer, there's a lot of artists that in the city that I respect. You know what I mean? That I think what they've done is great and they're productive. And I like them for different reasons. You know what I mean? I'm actually in the moment, like going back to where, Mo Zion, Shades of Culture. That's basically songs that we probably don't hear as much today. Artists, sorry. You said at all, right? But I like to educate myself into that, especially with the team and learning about like the roots of what hip hop used to be here. And I give credit to those who really were in the market, in the business. Now it became saturated. Everybody's a rapper now. You know what I mean? Like no joke. Everybody's dropping something, even if you do it on the side of your hustle, whatever. Yeah. So it's like at this point, where's I'm looking. I don't have a top 5. The reason why is because I do feel like the construct of the top 5 is made in a way where like people in a higher power in the industry, not because of your question, but like you see when you Google top 5, or top 10, they have these top 11s of whatever, limits or has a construct where it's basically, it has an impact, not negative only, but positive too, where it limits who is going to be highlighted. Because I got to tell you, I could see that top 5 or top 10 list, and I could name you 20 other people that are laying down some real work that inspires a lot of other artists. And no one, to be honest, inspiration doesn't come from, I'm inspired by you. Consciously, I'm going to go do a track. It comes naturally, like 100%. Where you may not even know. 100%. Yo, I met this guy, met that guy. I went to this event. Then, now I'm dropping tracks. And when you ask that same person, what inspires you? They're going to name some other people from the States or wherever. But those other people are going unnoticed. And that's what like you said, right? There's a lot of Michael Jordans in Montreal, well, for the rap scene, right? And that's how I feel. So, but to give credit to some few people, aside from the team for sure, a lot of people on the French side, shout out to Obia Le Chef. He just came out with some, Connaisseur, and shout out to Monkey, for sure. On the beat, Sev D, Mark the Magnanimous. He's a DJ predominantly, and then everybody else on the French side, there's more. Shout out to everybody I'm not mentioning, because it's hard to. You see, this is the reason why I don't have top 5 people, bro.
That's why I said the list is
the
long.
list is long, people, right? Bro. And then I'm gonna add some more people, because on the French side, there's them. I mentioned Mo Zion and all these guys. Soja, Lost. These guys are like, this is hearing him from Bonhomme Pendu till now. The consistency, love it. I think it's good for the city, the consistency, and being professional. That's it. When you see progress, that's when you know, okay, there's something that is good for the city. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then on the English side, everybody, man, you guys remember the Double XL Cypher with, Magnum? Shout out to Magnum.
Mags, man. He's making a comeback right now. Exactly. Hard body, too.
Exactly.
Hard body, bro.
Hearing that, with Blicky, Eyeblast, and then
Muggs was on there.
Right? Millie Mills.
Shout
out to Millie Mills. I think he goes by like February Cold.
Yeah.
Right. Everybody, That
was actually a really dope. That's my favorite era in Montreal.
Yo, there was a vibe to it, right?
Maybe it's just because like I was a part of it though. I don't know if it's like I'm probably biased, but I just for me that was like golden era Montreal hip hop, bro.
For sure, yeah.
It was a lot of action back then. Like when he bum rushed K103.
No, it was CKUT. It was CKUT. Masters at Work. Yeah,
Masters at Work. That's what it was. Yeah, there was a lot of
a lot of
action.
A lot of action there. You know what I mean?
Bro, new regime, like the new money whole vibe came out of that one moment. Like that shit was crazy.
It was bubbling, and then after I felt like, I guess because nobody reached the apex, like nobody reached that pinnacle yet. Yeah, started fizzling out. Right now, there's a resurgence. I feel there's a resurgence. Like we mentioned, like Blicky, he's doing his thing. He's in Toronto.
Yeah,
he's there with Drake and that. You know what I mean? He's part of the OVO.
He reps up.
Yeah,
and I just feel like now is like everybody's in a position that something is bound to pop off any moment.
Yeah.
So I'm just waiting for it.
Yeah. Something's gonna
My
happen.
money is and has been for the last 5 years on Huss. It's on Husser.
Yeah, no, like
That's,
you've been saying,
if I had to
right
put
now,
my money down on
Yeah.
anybody,
I mean, he's
it's
already
Nate.
kind of up
He's in
there.
LA right
like,
now,
It's
right?
Nate,
He moved
bro.
to
He's
LA.
already up there.
He's got an apartment out there, so
Yeah.
that's the next move. What about you? Do you plan to stay in the city forever, or what's your
He
next?
said no.
Well,
Right away.
okay, I gotta say it like this. I love Montreal. I'm gonna be here, but I'm gonna be somewhere else at the same time.
Come back.
You know what I mean? Like because Montreal's a great place to be. Even like everybody hates, the winter, but to be honest, you just got to know how to move through it. You know what I mean?
Stay at home for
Yeah,
7 months.
move during the winter.
I don't mind the winter,
Yeah,
to be
move
honest.
through.
bro.
Yeah.
I mean, I prefer
good?
palm trees, but like I don't mind it. It is what it is.
No,
It is what it
Montreal in
is.
the summertime's beautiful. Like,
You know what I'm
I love
saying?
it here in the summer.
Like, dude, just
Get
come here
yourself
for
a
the
nice
summer,
quilted jacket.
Go somewhere
You know
else
what
for
I'm saying?
7 months.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm assuming it's gonna be like an LA thing, probably.
For sure.
Yeah,
The
right.
founders are from there, so there's a lot of connections out there. I'm just working to establish some here. We're working here, so yeah, soon enough. Yeah, palm trees, and then come back here.
Yeah, bro. That's
Summertime.
perfect life. That's
the
Summertime
dream.
here is wonderful, man.
Yeah,
If
see,
y'all
I'm
haven't, like,
not gonna hate on summertime in Montreal.
Yeah,
we all know we have
yo.
a great time summertime.
great time.
But as soon as October hits,
Yeah.
you're like, dude, that's what September. I traveled 3 times already. Since
Okay.
September.
Yeah, bro.
Why? Because I can't stand
Puerto
this.
Rican Steve was out there. he was out there on the Incan trails and shit. I'm telling you, bro.
He's handling business.
This guy here, bro.
With his little shorties.
Yeah, 100%. He was over there getting married in foreign countries. He's out of control. This guy, I'm telling
It's
you.
really bad. Watch your drinks around him, by the way.
Yeah, 100%.
These guys are spreading rumors right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well,
what we
it seems
do.
to be a theme on this podcast.
Anyways, Roofy's making a comeback. Like I said, 3 episodes.
That's the next T-shirt.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm gonna stay out of this one.
Trust me, it's nothing like that. We were talking about some girl that got date raped. She got
stop
drugged.
talking.
She got drugged. She got drugged. Nothing happened. She wasn't even sure she got drugged. And then after I said something like, I saw this plenty of times on the news, and
Plot twist, it was Steve.
Roofy is making a comeback. I said.
I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for the
He wants a
T-shirt.
T-shirt. Like
I'm
that.
waiting for the T-shirt, bro.
Anyways, you made us go completely off topic.
It's my fault as usual.
Yeah.
It's okay.
So you said LA is the dream, is the plan, basically. The foundation is there.
Yeah, and many other places in the states for sure. You know what I mean? New York, you got so much Atlanta.
Big
You know what I
music
mean?
scene in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
exactly.
Atlanta, really big.
Well, for sure. Not to cut you off from your thought. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were gonna ask him?
I don't know. You keep throwing me off, you.
Sorry.
Oh, my bad. I thought I
just
threw
fuck
you
off.
off. My
No,
bad.
you're
I
good, you're good.
apologize.
So, yeah, you
It's
said
my
Atlanta.
fault. It's your
It's
fault.
everyone's
It's everyone's fault. I apologize.
LA.
Yeah.
It's a big map out there. Geography's. You can go all over the world too.
For sure.
Once you get to that point, you know what I mean. What are you working on next, though? If I'm not mistaken, I don't know if it's already released or anything, but I read something about herbal tea.
Yeah. So, okay. Herbal Teal is one of the tracks from yesterday. It's actually the 6th song. It's the last song.
Okay.
I do have some work getting in the process. I may end up dropping stuff that are more sequenced, a sequel to yesterday. Yeah. So like, you're going to hear, I have a few singles that I'm going to drop in between now and then, in the project. Yesterday is kind of like the beginning. It's more like the introduction. You know what I mean? And then there's more coming out. Yeah, for sure.
Hey, what were we talking about last week? I think we were talking about the Grammys.
Ha!
Did you see the Grammys?
A part of it. I didn't see the whole thing.
What was your take on that? Like,
Nah.
what you did see in the Grammys?
You know what? I didn't really see enough.
You saw enough of it. Like, turn this on.
You know what I mean? I just see what's going on, and I may move on. To be honest, I'm not. Like I have my own view, like on the Grammys and all that. There's a lot of stuff in the industry that I'm like, I may not. If I don't have like an hour or 2 hours to spend on it,
Right.
I'm cool. You know what I mean? Let me know after. Like, tell me what you think. I may find out through you.
Okay, so
Yeah, let's see what you think, Steve.
we were mentioning last time we saw the Grammys, and it looked like it was very satanic influenced in a way. I
Talking
don't know.
about Sam Smith.
Sam Smith, everybody in the crowd wearing devil horns. The whole thing was red and black.
And the song's called Unholy.
The song's called. It felt like the theme.
Ooh.
So like,
I mean, that's been the theme in Hollywood for a
That's-
long time.
Yeah, people were just saying that about
100%.
Playboy Cardi, right?
yeah, Playboy Cardi too.
Or Lil
Yeah.
Nas X, like, come on.
No,
like,
it
it's
was
been a
Lil
theme.
Uzi Vert though. He just
Oh, okay.
he's,
Are you
yeah.
prepared to navigate through that when you get to LA? Like, 'cause there's going to be tons of these
Like,
things.
no,
You're
no.
going to get invited
Yeah.
to parties, and There's going to be all this weird stuff going
Eyes
on.
wide shut, people in robes with masks
Yo.
on.
Like,
Bring me to the
yourself
eyes
for
wide
going in.
open
Yeah.
shows. As a matter of fact, that's the movement that actually spiraled into sovereign music movement. It's funny you said eyes wide shut. It's crazy. To be honest, the world and like the music industry, yes, there is that big part of it that I personally want to navigate through it through being humble in my experience long term. Because everybody rushes to things. You know what I mean? You want to rush to what you said, LA, see what's going on over there, try to rush into Hollywood, no plan,
It's a risk.
no structure. Yo, you're not safe. You know what I mean?
Right.
And I'm like, I'm a faithful person. So for me, like, I'm not promoting any satanic rituals or whatever you just described. I'm not navigating through that just on my own, trying to wait for some deal coming in my hands. You know what I mean? That's not, for anyone watching this, consider these things in the industry. It's like you said, whatever's happening in the industry, you need a team behind you. You need people around you. You need older people, young guys, young people. Bro, consider that there's older people out there ready to help you.
You need mentors.
Mentors, good people around you, family. You know what I mean? If you don't move like that, personally, how I feel, you're going to be very vulnerable. You know what I mean? Not because the industry is out to get you, but it is. You know what I mean? In that context where it's like, it's big, it's even just for the sake of going from here to the States and not having your mental preparation of what you want, you get lost in the sauce. I could see that happening.
100%.
You know what I mean? It's not just going there, you're going to get some deal or meet someone, meet the right people, get in the right rooms. It doesn't really work like that, but you got to really prepare yourself, because if you, whatever you walk into that, whatever you just described, that party that's looking dark or whatever, or the events, if you have your moral like ethics, you can know what you stand for and you can move through it a little bit more with more control. Because if not, like, bro, things can happen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but, and you know what? I think also though, it's like, you're right. But at the same time too, I think that there's like this kind of like this conspiracy fantasy surrounding like the entertainment industry, where it's like all this satanic shit going on in these secret societies, when the reality is, and maybe it's true. Listen, it probably is, but listen, in business, in any business, whether we're talking about real estate, whatever business you're talking about, if you go to buy a car and you don't do your knowledge before you walk into that building, there's sharks in the water.
Yeah.
And if you walk in bleeding, they're going to get your ass. You know what I mean? It's just, this is what it is. So it's like, if you're trying to enter the entertainment industry and you have no idea what you're doing and you're just walking in there like, I'm going to be famous. Like there's a lot of people who went to LA with that dream and they're working at Hooters right now.
Right.
Like, it's the reality.
You have a solid foundation, a good team backing you, being humble.
Yeah.
You might walk into that room, somebody's dangling the carrot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you just want to be famous, you're going to go for it.
Yeah.
But like you said, if you have your head on your shoulders and you already know what the game plan is, you already know what the finish line is supposed to look like.
Right.
You can avoid these things.
Yeah, exactly.
It's definitely important for those young guys and the young girls going out there just trying to become a superstar, or I'm going to become a model, I'm going to become a rapper or a singer.
Yeah.
And if all they're banking on is that one song they have no business sense, no nothing, you're going to get eaten alive out there.
Yeah.
It's a jungle, you know?
Exactly. And I'm sure it's like that in other industries, you know what I mean? Like the film industry
Exactly.
to wherever, you know?
Literally every business is
Exactly. So it's not to touch on the conspiracy, but it's like, artists would be like, okay, describing the look and the style and being like, yo, if I become an artist, I may end up having to do that, right? Everybody may do compromises. Me personally, I don't want to do compromises like that to a far degree where I'm like, oh, I don't agree with this, but I want to do it so I can make, some type of success. As an artist, if we're talking about hustling and getting into like the industry, my personal view is like, if you're independent, you have more chances of doing what you want. You may not get that deal to do that big concert and big event, but you'll do that, more, I guess, less people involved type of event. Get 1,000 people instead of 10,000 people. It's more qualitative, but you don't have to have that stylist make you wear that. Because when you're signing contracts, I'm sure like you're running through a bunch of, regulations and you got to conform. You know what I mean? You can't be there trying to do your thing while you're signed to some big label telling you, yo, you need that stylist and this is who you're going to be with. And this is part of the problem that people don't look at. People 100%. Look, because you're signing the contract. You know what I mean? At the end of the day, or you're doing what you're doing to get involved. So if people have that, satanic look. If you go there, you have your opinion. If you compromise to whatever degree, if you agree with it, go for it. You know what I mean? Look the part and do your thing. But if you don't agree with it and you have some type of like moral, I guess,
Your compass,
whatever, then just know there is a big route for you. There's another route. It's not paved. You know what I mean? There's some rocks, there's some stones. You just got to work yourself through it. It's a little bit harder, but take that route. You know what I'm saying? It's more humble. It's more like, things that you can hear in any motivational speaker, like do your own thing, right? Just do it. You know what I mean?
And we're at a point in history now where it's actually in the artist's favor more than ever before.
Facts.
Because of the internet, because of social media. Like, you have leverage now.
Yeah.
Like if you have a significant following and you've accumulated a certain amount of success with your music or with your brand or whatever it is, like, you have leverage. Whereas before, like, if we're talking even about the year 2000, forget about like the 80s. If you're talking about like 1998, before like the internet was really a big thing where you could build this following, it's like you were, as a rapper, you were literally just hoping that like there was an A&R at a show that heard you and approached you. And if that did happen, you had zero leverage because you're bringing nothing to the table other than I can rap really well.
Right.
You know what I mean? So now I think younger artists need to learn that, like, when you go into these meetings, into these boardrooms with these individuals, it's like, know your value. Because if you don't, they're gonna get you, and it's just, and that's just business, bro. It's what they're here to do. Like, a business is exactly that. Like, capitalism, what's the word in capitalism? Capitalize. You're capitalizing on people, right?
Yeah,
that's what we're here to do.
So capitalize on yourself.
I think there was a comparison to King's Disease,
right,
for one of your tracks, and how there's all these old industry execs making more money off your music than you are off it. You know what I mean? So it goes to show you that there's people that are going to make way more money off your own music if you don't know the business.
Yeah,
so
straight
really
up.
Important.
Yeah, 100%, man.
I mean, it's the record business at the end of the day. the record business was created and set up by gangsters. It's a racket. Mm-hmm. Like it was founded by gangsters. I'm not kidding. Like, you can look this shit up.
Mafia, yeah. We're getting to that time of the day that El Mega, you're going to have to pick up that gem.
Yeah.
You're going to have to drop a gem on the people. You already dropped gems this whole episode.
Mad gems.
Mad gems. We're gonna
El Gem Supreme. You know what I'm saying?
I like that name. Okay, so I gotta hold it to the camera. Nah, but
three cameras there, but you know you got it.
All right. So, I mean, I'm not no guru or no expert, but I could tell you one thing. There's a lot of things in the industry that people need to understand, and you can hear it elsewhere. This is just to bring up the facts that everyone knows. There's the music business, then there's the making the music that you make, the recording, the producing. If you want to take the music and just do that, just know that you need what you just described, that other person or that other entity. And if it's outside of yourself, you're going to have to depend and move and conform to whatever's going on. If you want to understand the music business so you can have longevity, have your children, reap your get royalties from your music and your art, then consider learning and studying the business of music. And if you're in Montreal, yes, bro, we don't have the infrastructure. We don't have that. But bro, we got Google. You know what I mean? We got books. You could walk into the library, get a bunch of books. But to be honest, some books are outdated. So just to keep facts, everybody says, read books. But I got to say, there's some subscribe, pay that $50 a month. You know what I mean? Get subscribed to one of those, music business catalogs where you can actually get up-to-date news, see what's really going on behind these contracts, behind these deals, and navigate. And first of all, stay faithful, stay principled, have some ethics, learn who you are, to be honest, and then that helps you navigate where you want to be. Because if you don't know who you are, what you stand for, what you're about, what your purpose is in life, bro, consider doing that before dropping another track. You know what I mean?
That's bars right there.
Bangata.
That was a great gem. Thank you very much.
Oh no, thank you guys for having me. Shout out to the Hustle Podcast. You guys been doing your thing. First of all, but yeah, go ahead. I just want to give you guys your flowers.
Yeah. Tell the people where they can find the music.
Okay. So you obviously could find it on all platforms right now. Yesterday, El Mega S.P.R.M, S.P.R.M at the end. Streaming platforms for sure. However, it may get off there at any moment. So go to humblux.com, HUMBLUX.com. That's where we are. We have cultural campaigns, a ton of cool stuff out there. dope concepts. Yesterday's one of them. So yo, go peep that there. You could listen to the music. You could see some of the merch. You know, you could get yourself a Humble hoodie. I don't got the design here, but you know, you got the Humblux Yesterday cap, bucket hat. You can find everything there. Instagram, you know, social media, HUMBLUX. Find us there, and yeah, we could chat if you guys want to talk business too.
Let's go.
Thank you, everybody, for watching another episode of Hustle Podcast.
Yeah.
We out.
Welcome, everybody. Y'all ready for this? The Hustle. My name is Steve.R.M, and these are my co-hosts.
And I'm Tech Luciano. You may have heard me on radio, you may have never heard of me at all, but that's okay.
Y'all gon' learn today. Your whole life was a struggle, had to make it